Hello and welcome to Hendricks How-Tos. I'm Jody Kaylor, energy healer and Hendricks trained coach. Today, I'm going to be talking about filters, and I've entitled this Fun with Filters. Your first question might be, well, what are filters? And I will tell you, it's something that you add from your own context to how you perceive, which is some combination of listening, thinking, and perceiving and viewing. So here's a quick metaphorical example. You might be aware that in the theater, I'm pulling up a photo for you. In the theater, they have these big lights in the rafters, and they want to achieve different effects. So sometimes they will put a gel coloring in front of that light so that they can get different effects on the stage. So that's an example. It's the gel added to what was just plain white light. So that's one example of a filter, but we're talking about it in the sense of communication and behaviors. So also you might be aware of the idiomatic expression, seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. So that's putting on those pink glasses and you see only the good, only the beautiful, and the perfect. It filters out the bad, and that's what some filters can do in our communications and behaviors. So so I think it's important to note that this tendency likely comes from survival instincts, trying to avoid getting eaten by a big cat. You want to be able to filter out the sounds of certain footsteps for that reason. And it's not about a judgment or an immoral sense, but rather about the natural filtering that helps us process a flood of sensory information. We are getting so much sensory information right now, and more as we go along. Yet, over time, these filters can become rigid or overly habitual, so they can restrict your creativity and your authentic connection. So it's kind of like having cobwebs or a beaded curtain between you and others. Also, we are very varied people on this planet, and thank goodness for that. But that means that can bring religious filtering, family of origin filters, food preferences, gender, cultural, all kinds of filters that we may be bringing to the party or seeing in others. So as we fine-tune our genetics, here's what we're looking at, some modern examples of filters that might be in operation in your life. For example, listening to fix what the other person, listening to be right, to control, listening for approval, to avoid conflict, to expect criticism, to confirm your point of view, to hear whether you're liked, or to avoid being dominated, or to prove that you're the victim here. Yeah, I hear you had a bad day, but it's nothing compared to my day. I'm the true victim here. So these are some filters at work. So you might be wondering, those sound negative. Are there any positive perception filters? And so, okay, let's look at that. So maybe you can be listening to serve, how you can give and help. But that also brings up whether you view that as good or bad, because that's not how we're really wanting to see them. Are you looking through a persona? Because a persona can be a helper, or it can also be a controller. And are you listening from your true essence or from a persona? So we are confusing in these cases what is so, what's really being said, with what we think and how we feel about what the other is saying. We may be adding meaning to facial expression, words, gestures, tone of voice, especially if the communication is written. We may be adding a whole story of tone of voice and meaning and behavior behind it that may or may not even be there. So you can ask yourself, how am I showing up? Am I showing up in a yes or no? A yes open and expanded, or a no, kind of contracted and not really allowing. So that's one way to get around the positive and negative, is just think, how am I showing up? What's my physical posture? What's my state of mind, or even my mood? And so let me take a sip of water. Why do I call it fun with filters? Because it is a game of your choosing. Do you want to explore yourself and others? You can beat yourself up and complain to the other person, or you can take it as a loving invitation to greater self-awareness and an opportunity for deeper connection. So deeper understanding of yourself, the people you care about. And so, as we often say here, pause, breathe, get curious, use the audible which is one of my favorite tools, to go from reactive brain to creative brain, and wonder, is there a filter here? Is it an old pattern, or is there a fear behind this? And with a goal toward opening understanding and communication. So you can let it be playful rather than punitive as you look for the pure source of what is coming your way, the actual words and emotions without filters. You may ask, am I willing to pull back that beaded curtain, remove those cobwebs? Am I interested in a fuller, more expansive experience of life? And if so, what's the deeper truth or beauty behind what I am perceiving? So, to summarize all that and what you can do with filters is, once you recognize that there's a filter going on here, pause and acknowledge with presence and curiosity, always curiosity. Check in with your body and breathe, allowing a shift from autopilot to intentional awareness. Name the filter, and then just be aware, okay, that's what's happening. Set it aside gently and use your attention for truly hearing the words and the emotions and the unspoken truths that are behind them, most importantly. So embrace the process as a playful, continual exploration into deeper, more authentic connection. Ultimately, filters aren't fixed. They're very malleable, very much open to exploration and creative transformation. So each time you catch your attention skewed by an old pattern, you have the chance to choose a new, more expansive, heart-centered view. So the shift opens up a space where authenticity and creative expression can emerge, aligning you with the practice of conscious relating and deep transformative listening. So thank you for listening to me today. This has been Hendricks How-Tos, and I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.